Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new here today. My name is Dina and in today's video we are going to be talking about fall decorating. Now unfortunately I live in California and it is still 100 degrees outside and it probably will be until the end of September, and so I am nowhere near ready to bring fall into our home. And honestly, I don't even want to go to our storage unit and pick things up because it's so hot. So I'm not there. But I do realize that I put videos on YouTube and most of YouTube has probably 2 or 3 weeks of fall decorating under their belt. And so I thought I better put something out. And so I gathered some inspiration that I put out last year and I collected it, put it into this one video, hoping that it will lend some inspiration to you and to myself. Actually, going through my old videos has proven to be somewhat inspirational to me as well. I never went through them before because I didn't want to see myself on camera ever again. I have to see it enough when I edit. And so going back to see myself is kind of like cringy to me, but I will say it has been very inspirational. I've done that this year for the first time, gone back and looked at old videos, and I really like seeing what I've done before because it gives me an idea of what I might want to do this year. Now, I am going to start in the kitchen, and I do want to say, I hope that this will help you maybe think outside the box yet again and think about using what you already have on hand. Now, it looks like that's pretty much what I did last year. I ended up painting a few of my pumpkins that I had for years, and I also decoupaged a few of them. I used magnolia leaves all throughout our home, which I absolutely loved, and I actually had forgotten that I had done that. So that was kind of neat to go back and look at that. Ronnie had trimmed our trees like a week or two before I started decorating for fall, and he had come in and said, "Hey, do you want any of these branches?" And I said, "Yes, please, I want them all." I had already had in mind that I was going to use our magnolia leaves this year, so him going ahead and trimming the trees right before I needed them worked out perfectly for me and for him, because I just collected them all and dried them in our garage and then brought them in as I needed them, and it really worked. So think about that as well. Maybe a tree in your yard or that you've seen on a walk. Maybe you can ask a neighbor if they have a beautiful tree in their backyard. You can just take some clippings. I do know that Trader Joe's carries cuttings from trees throughout the year as well, so maybe you can find something there, or maybe you already have something on hand that would take the place of a dried branch. Instead, you could use faux branches. Whatever it may be, I hope that this will give you some inspiration to use what you have on hand and not worry about having to go out and spend a ton of money each and every season. So let's get started in the kitchen and then we'll go from there. Starting off today, I knew I wanted to incorporate the small risers I made about a month ago. And you know that I love hiding all of my outlets here in the kitchen, so I used a print that I've had on hand for quite some time that I purchased at Hobby Lobby. Next, going in with just a few more embellishments to finish off this side. Now I am on to using a stack of bowls that I've had for quite some time, topped off with some moss and a pumpkin that I just repainted and added a simple piece of decoupage to make it match the aesthetic that was going on in my head, in hopes to make it all come together. I also brought in a couple of my favorite boxwoods and of course a couple of books, because what would decorating be here if there weren't any books in it? Then I added in one more pumpkin that I repainted the other day, and I love the look of it, which I stacked on a couple more books and of course some moss. One thing that I really was excited to try to incorporate this year were the magnolia branches Ronnie had cut for me just a couple weeks ago, and I'll have to say I am absolutely loving the look. Now just a couple more additions to this corner and we will be off to the next. Just in case you were interested in the paint colors I used the territorial beige on the larger pumpkin and both of these paint colors for the smaller. Okay, adding in a piece of my silver collection with just some faux acorns for that warm, rich brown color here next to the stove was my first thought. And then I came in with my second riser, topping that off with a thrifted basket that I believe I purchased last year. Now I filled this basket with more magnolia leaves and an array of pumpkins, and I absolutely love this little vignette. I am loving the woven basket with the wood. Now covering up some more of my outlets and such, I chose to use my silver tray once again, this time adding in that artichoke canvas that I purchased at Michael's. Then adding to the look, I'm going in with a cloche and riser that is filled with artichokes and pumpkins combined to bring both of those looks together, and of course topping that off with a tassel. And then I'm going to be mirroring the two spaces together with one more thing, and that is the flicker of candlelight. Okay, friends, I hope that you enjoyed those little clips in the kitchen. Now, I will put a playlist at the end of this video so you can go back and look at these videos as a whole, or any other of my fall videos will be listed in that playlist as well. Feel free to look through those. And also, I have a few things on my Amazon storefront, so if you would like to look through that, you are always welcome. Even if it's just for inspiration, I always have that linked down below in the description box, along with Christy's Candle Company and also Lyssa's boutique. Now, I just saw yesterday that Christy posted over on Instagram that she put together a box of 3 fall scents. They are so pretty to look at, and I'm sure they smell even better. So if you are in the market of a new fall candles, make sure to take a look at her website. She has 3 of them for $30, and I will tell you, her candles smell absolutely amazing. And that is not just because she is my friend. I just think that she has really broken through and figured out how to make a beautiful scented candle that just fills the room with the most amazing scent. So if you are in the market, take a look there. You get 3 for $30. You could break up the gift set and give them as gifts. I think they would be absolutely amazing. Or you could give the whole gift box. I think they would make a great hostess gift this year. So take a look at her website. She is sure to make you a believer in Soleil. So now that we are done with that, let's go ahead and head into the dining room area. Now, again, this is from last year, and I still had my small buffet. It was my parents', but I had to move on from that. But it was something that was so neat to decorate right underneath the window. And again, it gives you inspiration for maybe a coffee table, an entryway table, or your own buffet. So let's take a look at this. Beautiful basket I found at Hobby Lobby a few years ago. The cloth label is what sold it for me when it came to this basket. I absolutely love that part, plus the addition of the beautiful strap. It just screamed vintage to me, so it was something that I picked up right away. The addition of the magnolia branches really brings in that seasonal touch that I was looking for. Of course, adding in a few books is always a must, and then pairing it with a rather old pumpkin that I have had on hand for well over 10 years, but adding in a simple tassel makes it perfect for this year as well. Another old pumpkin and one of the topiaries that I made a few videos back is going to complete this side of the table, and then we can move on. If you happen to be new here today, you will quickly come to understand that I love to layer. I like to consider my style as French country inspired, and that is where all the layering comes in. And neutral is definitely my color story through and through. I think the only color I tend to bring in throughout the year is green, and that is because it is my favorite color. Obviously, the buffet isn't complete without something on this bottom shelf, so bringing in my very large and heavy cheese board worked as two solutions. One, I needed a space to store it, and two, it brings in that wood element found in the branches and, dare I say, from the basket. Next, bringing in that vintage vibe with some of my silver collection. I love these two pieces that I've selected here. They are so pretty. Adding in a small pumpkin that I purchased at Hobby Lobby years ago, along with the added touch of magnolia leaves to tie it all together. Okay, that was the dining room area. Now again, I didn't show you the whole area because I didn't want to put the whole video into this one. So that will be at the end of the video as well in a playlist. So that will be in a playlist once again at the end of this video. Now, I noticed looking back at these videos that last year was when I began my wicker basket era, and I am still smack dab in the middle of it. In fact, they showed up in last week's video, and that became the favorite part of the video to many of you. In fact, a lot of you had mentioned that you wanted to do that in your home, and that just makes me smile from the inside out. I love the idea of being able to inspire you in those moments. So thank you so much for letting me know that you really enjoyed that. I am bringing in a couple more baskets, I think, in the living room coming up next, so take a look at that. And of course, my magnolia leaves and things that I've already had on hand. One of these I totally forgot about, and I was so happy that I found it because I wanted to share it once again. So let's head into the living room next. As I begin decorating today, I'm going to be concentrating on creating a warm and cozy vibe for our living room space, bringing in a mixture of textures that offer that perfect visual impression of comfort, warm candlelight, because I not only love the glow of the flame, but the beautiful story the melted wax makes all on its own. And of course, those soft and muted tones I've used all season long that speak of me all on their own. own. And as always, I'm going to keep in mind that what really makes a space comfortable is bringing together all those elements that truly make us happy and content. I know I have mentioned this before, but I just wanted to remind us all to think outside the box while we're decorating and putting these vignettes together. It's such a gift of limitless possibilities. On the beach one day years ago, I looked down at all the driftwood and thought, how pretty and unique would those pieces be set around a pumpkin? And now I have a little collection all of my own that I can use here and there on any pumpkin, and I think it adds a little bit of a vintage touch as well. Hi friends, coming to you from the floor and behind the scenes of decorating and how my mind sometimes works. So while I was decorating, I began to think about this and its little partner that I purchased years ago at Big Lots. Now what brought this to mind is because when I was going through my bins earlier in the month, I noticed that the candle had come loose from this larger one. And I thought, well, that's actually prettier without the candle in it. But I decided not to use it until today, actually just a few minutes ago. And I went out to the garage, got them. Now this one still had the candle intact, so I did have to loosen that up. If you do that, be very careful. I was a little bit afraid because I actually used a knife to pry it loose, and I was afraid I was either gonna hurt myself with that or this was gonna shatter, but neither one happened, so we're safe. But I thought they were such a neat vessel. Now, they are hollow in the middle, so it gave me something that I could fill that would kind of go with my decor. Now, I loved the little candle at one point, but I thought how neat to make it my own. So I started looking around at what I could fill them with. I came across this little book page. Now these two have been hot glued together forever. That was our family number for quite some time. There were 4 of us, now there's 5, but I had this in our decor just to bring that little family number into it. And so I thought I could put that in here, but what else could I put in? Well, surprise, magnolia leaves. Why not? It's going to bring that little element into this space. And so I thought, yeah, look, I thought it's cute. And the little vintage touch of some book pages. And see, I just thought that would be so cute. Now for the larger one, I found some more book pages that had already been folded. And what I'm gonna do is just put them right inside. And I just thought that was a really pretty touch. So if you have anything like that, you can make it brand new by just taking out that little plastic candle and adding in something that goes with your own decor. How many things could you fill this with? There's so many things. You could fill it just with all kinds of colored ribbon, with pictures, with little pumpkins. It's just endless amounts of fun. So anyways, I thought I would just kind of show you that behind the scenes. Let's go ahead and decorate with them now. This little space has truly turned into Ronnie's favorite reading area. So I will be honest, though I love decorating each and every space in our home, I do try really hard to make sure that it stays comfortable and functional for my family. So in this case, I wasn't thinking, and later that evening when Ronnie went to set his book back down, my candle was in the way. Well, he quickly said, "I'll just put it in my office," to which I said, no, I'll move the candle. So yes, the candle has been moved, and in its place sets his book. Now, as you've probably heard today, he can sit here to not only watch, but also listen to all the birds as they visit his birdie boulevard. If you missed that, we did make a little birdie boulevard right here outside our kitchen window, and he can hear them and the rest of the birds in our little backyard. So it is just a quaint little comfortable spot that he truly appreciates. As we begin this journey into fall, the air turns crisp, the leaves begin to fall. There's even a new smell in the air. I love fall in all of its changing, but in that same token, later in the season, we tend to look at that same beautiful tree in a different light. The leaves are all gone, and all that stands are its branches. Not that pretty to look at, if I'm honest. The sky, too, will soon lose its vibrant color and sometimes turn gray. Not exactly a favorite either, but change needs to happen for growth. And though we may seem stripped bare during our own transitions from one season to the next, we know He is always there. He helps us stand strong, like that tree, and wait for the new that is soon to come with the next season of life. All right, friends, I am going to begin to bring this video to a close. But before I go, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming along with me today. I know this video wasn't current. It was from last year, but I do think that it serves as a lot of inspiration, not only to you, but to myself as well. Like I said, looking back at these things gives me a lot of ideas and kind of helps me to gauge what direction I want to go in when it comes to decorating for the next season. So I hope that maybe it did the same for you. And if it didn't give you any inspiration as to how you want to decorate, maybe it gives you inspiration to decorate with what you have on hand, or maybe bring some of your outdoors in. Whichever it may be, I just hope that it serves as something for you today. Now, I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of your week. Remember to stay safe, be blessed, and I will see you in the next one, everyone. Bye.